after these workers are getting restive. You know, we worked hard, we produced a socialist economic plan for our area, nothing's happening. So Chavez calls on television again, a cabinet meeting, and he proceeds to talk in that sense about, we're going to revive that socialist economic plan, it's been held back, we want to move on it, and you know, we have now state capitalism without worker control, we don't have socialism. And a clear response to the worker, well, so it went back, he's got a new minister of basic industry because the old minister was not functioning to push this process forward. This is a constant struggle, you know, between the bureaucrats, some of the ministers, and Chavez and the workers. And that's, you know, that is what is happening. You know, so you have a move toward social ownership, a move toward worker management, and the key question is that whole question of communal needs and communal purposes. I said before, the most exciting thing happening in Venezuela is this process of communal control, communal decision-making. That you had the establishment, 2006, of communal councils, which in the urban areas are 200 to 400 families, roughly 1,000 people. And these councils select voceros, spokespersons, who represent them on a number of questions, but they are just spokespersons. They are not representatives in the traditional, you know, parliamentary concept, because the basic decision-making body is the neighborhood assembly. And these communal councils would make decisions, would analyze their needs. What do we need in our area? We need, you know, our roads are horrible, our water system is bad, you know, in many cases they're horrible, you know. So they would then put forward a proposal, and their proposals would always first prioritize those things we can do ourselves without relying upon the state for resources. But when they came to needing resources, they would make a proposal for this whole process, and you know, they would then get through a process of actually finding ways to, you know, to take the money that they receive from state bodies in order to, you know, economize it. I went to a number of small rural areas where they had received money for 12 houses to be built in their communities because of substandard housing. And one after another, they told you with pride how they had stretched the money to build 15 houses or 18 houses by various ways of using, you know, local labor, their own labor, rather than contracting for work, etc. Real pride in what they were doing and what they were doing themselves. This is a process of self-development through their activity. It's the core. Now, obviously, a unit of 200 to 400 families is not going to be able to deal with very large questions. The process happening right now is a process of communal councils deciding on their own to join together with other communal councils to form the communes. So in some cases it's 20 councils, in some cases 10 councils, who work on common problems because they see the identity of their problems. And this process of the creation of the commune is extremely important because it's, again, you know, an extension of this process of decision-making from below. And this is all conceptualized. Chavez is very clear on this. I have to say that, you know, my wife, Marta Harnecker, has been very much involved in advising on all of this process. That Chavez is very clear that the move from communal councils to the commune, to the communes coming together in something called the communal city, is all step-by-step process of creating a new state from below. And he says very explicitly, and said on many occasions, the communal council is the cell of the new socialist state. Now that is the most exciting thing happening there, because you can see the effect upon people, you know, of how they grow in this process of decision-making from below. So that's the internal kinds of things that are happening under the, you know, these conditions. Now, externally, you know, externally, Chavez looks, you know, the reality for all Latin America is U.S. imperialism. You cannot do anything without being conscious of the fact that the United States is either, financing, directly, armies like in Colombia, in the Colombian plan, or engaging in direct subversion through the National Endowment for Democracy and financing all opposition groups, strategizing for student movements, doing all this. You are constantly aware of that in every country, that tries to do anything. Bolivia, Ecuador, Venezuela in particular at this point. I wouldn't include Brazil, even though Michael Hart talked about Brazil, because Brazil has followed neoliberal policies. It's not part of a new system. So you have to think in terms of, if you are conscious of the potential of U.S. Proxy invasion through Colombia and various kinds of attacks by the U.S. being cut off, what you do is what Chavez is attempting to do internationally is you try to create a multipolar world by creating alliances with countries that have in common only that they are opposed to the U.S. imperialism. So you get alliances with Iran, alliances with China, alliances with Zimbabwe and Mugabe, alliances which are distinctly uncomfortable for anyone on the left. But you have to understand the framework for which they're functioning, which is we have to create space in order to be able to build our project. So I don't know whether I've had a chance to answer all your question, but Strecko is with the wristwatch, so clearly he's on the side of the workers in this particular case. I guess you can have a chance to rest. So thank you.
Puno hvala Michaelu Lebovicu, kao i svima koji ste bili na predavanju i prevoditeljicama.